All right, so get this. Today we're tackling a question that sounds like child's play, but really had me thinking.
Oh, yeah. What's that?
Where does money come from?
Okay, I see where you're going with this.
Yeah, it's like something you'd ask a 5-year-old, right? But the source material here, a podcast aimed at teaching kids about finances, was surprisingly nuanced.
I've noticed that too. Sometimes those simple questions lead to the most profound insights.
Totally. And get this, we're going to uncover ways to earn money that go way beyond the typical 9 to 5.
It's funny how we use money every day, but rarely stop to examine the system it operates on.
Exactly. We're all playing this giant game, but how many of us actually know the rules in detail?
Right. And this episode dives right in by breaking down the most common way to get money: jobs.
Okay, but even there's a twist. They
Uh,
differentiate between salary and wages, and that got me thinking.
yeah, that's a distinction that's more profound than people realize.
In what way?
Well, a salary, like what teachers or doctors usually earn, is all about stability.
Okay, I see.
You get paid a fixed amount no matter how many extra hours you put in. But wages, on the other hand, are like a direct link between effort and reward delivery drivers. Artists, they often earn based on how much work they do.
So that makes sense, but I'm already seeing the trade-off. Salary sounds secure, but maybe there's a limit on how much you can earn.
Absolutely.
With wages, you could hustle and theoretically earn more, but there's also that risk factor, right?
You're exactly right.
Yeah.
It's not just about personal preference. It reflects whole economic philosophies.
Whoa.
Salary often implies a focus on completing tasks, meeting requirements. Wages emphasize output, measurable results. And this impacts everything: career choices, work-life balance, even how we define success.
Wow, I'm seeing jobs in a whole new light now, but how does this kid-focused podcast fit in? Were they teaching tiny humans to negotiate salary versus wage contracts?
Not quite,
Mm.
but they did bring up allowances,
Yeah.
which, if you think about it, is like a mini economics lesson for kids.
Oh, this is bringing back memories. I used to mow the lawn for $5 a week, felt like a fortune back then.
And there's something brilliant in how allowances mirror the adult world of performance-based bonuses.
Tell me more.
It's like their first taste of, if I do X, I'll get Y. It's all about incentivizing certain behaviors, whether it's finishing chores or exceeding sales targets.
Hold on, are you saying my childhood lawn mowing hustle was actually prepping me for the corporate world? My parents were masterminds.
Maybe subconsciously. But think about the psychological impact allowances teach kids to value effort and accomplishment, which might later translate into seeking bonuses and promotions.
Okay, my mind is officially blown. So we've got job salary versus wages, allowances, laying the groundwork for bonuses. It's like we're building a whole financial ecosystem here, but something tells me this kid's podcast went even deeper.
You bet it did, because once we understand how money is earned, it begs a much bigger question.
Which is,
How do we define value itself? And that's where things get really interesting.
so we've established that even a kid's podcast can spark some serious economic pondering. But how did they connect earning money to this idea of value? Did they have like little entrepreneurs setting up lemonade stands with complex pricing models?
Not exactly lemonade stands, but they did touch on something really insightful. Remember how we talked about allowances teaching kids to value effort and accomplishment? Well, the episode went on to ask, what about activities that are harder to measure, like caring for family or creating art? Does our system of earning money truly reflect the value of those contributions?
Whoa, that's a huge question. It's like they're subtly introducing the idea that work isn't just what gets you a paycheck.
Yeah.
It's anything that adds value to the world, even if that doesn't fit neatly into our economic models.
Precisely. And this gets to the heart of some really complex debates about how we value different types of labor.
Like what?
Think about stay-at-home parents, volunteers, artists, caregivers. They're creating immense value, but it often goes unrecognized in traditional economic terms.
It's almost like our current system is built around measuring output, like widgets produced or hours worked.
Right.
But how do you measure the value of a nurturing environment, a piece of art that moves people, or the care provided to someone in need?
That's the million-dollar question, isn't it? And it's a question that economists and social scientists have been grappling with for ages. Some argue for alternative models, like a universal basic income that would recognize the inherent value of all contributions, regardless of whether they're tied to a paid job.
That's fascinating. So this seemingly simple podcast about earning money has opened up this whole philosophical debate about the very nature of value itself. I'm starting to see why you were so excited about this deep dive.
It's like peeling back the layers of an onion. You start with the basic question of, where does money come from? And you end up questioning the very foundations of our economic system. And what's even more exciting is that the next generation, armed with this kind of financial literacy from a young age, might be the ones to come up with innovative solutions.
I love that optimistic outlook. So we've gone from jobs to wages allowances to bonuses, and now we're talking about reimagining the whole way we value contributions to society. Where do we even go from here?
Well, I think this is the perfect moment to turn the conversation back to you, dear listener. We've explored a range of ways to earn money, but what resonated with you most? Did any of these examples challenge your preconceived notions about work value or the economic system?
Yeah, we'd love to hear your take on this. What are your thoughts on how we define value, both personally and as a society? This is a conversation that needs all of us at the table. You know, it's really amazing how this conversation started with something as simple as where does money come from? And has spiraled into this mind-blowing exploration of value and work and the whole economic system. I feel like I'm seeing the world through new eyes.
Yeah, I know what you mean. It's the beauty of a deep dive, isn't it?
Yeah.
Uncovering those hidden connections, challenging assumptions, and ultimately expanding our understanding of the world around us.
Absolutely. And I think this episode has highlighted something really crucial on a flake. Financial literacy isn't just about, balancing a checkbook or investing in the stock market. It's also about understanding the broader systems at play, questioning how things work, and considering alternative perspectives.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. It's about empowering ourselves to not just participate in the economic game, but to maybe even change the rules if we see fit.
That's a powerful thought.
Yeah.
So as we wrap up this deep dive, I want to leave our listeners with one final question to ponder. We've talked about the different ways to earn money: jobs, wages, salaries, bonuses, even allowances. But what if we broadened our definition of earning?
Intriguing. What do you mean?
Well, what if we thought about earning not just in terms of financial compensation, but also in terms of recognition, respect, and the satisfaction of contributing something meaningful to the world?
Oh, I love that it challenges us to consider what truly motivates us, what kind of impact we want to make, and how we define success beyond just monetary wealth.
Exactly, because ultimately, whether we're talking about allowances for kids or bonuses for executives, the underlying question is, what do we value? And are our current systems reflecting those values in a way that's fair, sustainable, and fulfilling for everyone?
Those are big questions, but they're questions worth asking. And who knows, maybe by starting these conversations, by encouraging critical thinking about money and value, we can pave the way for a more equitable and meaningful future.
That's a great note to end on. Thanks for joining us on this deep dive into the surprisingly complex world of where money comes from. We hope you've learned something new, challenged some assumptions, and maybe even sparked some exciting new ideas.
Until next time, keep those minds curious and those conversations flowing.